All we hear about in the alternative media and mainstream media is Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. And we've been seeing the rise of Bitcoin since early this year. Ever since the Cyprus event happened, the bail-ins, you've seen Bitcoin continue to go up. And in addition, you should see the main proponent of Bitcoin, and it's Max Keiser. He goes on shows like Alex Jones, says that Bitcoin is going to go to the moon, it's going to go to 1 million. Regardless of whether you agree with Max Keiser, he was in early. He's making a killing in Bitcoin, so you have to give him props for that. However, you have to look at whenever Max Keiser goes on these alternative media shows, or whether it's mainstream media in other countries, you see Bitcoin prices rising sharply. For instance, early this year, when the bail-ins happened, he kept on touting Bitcoins. It went higher, much higher. If you want to look at as early as a month ago, Bitcoins was $200. And from $200, it went to $1,100. He was on BBC. Sure, you saw a move to the upside before then. But he did go on BBC, and he did talk the book about Bitcoin, and it's gone from 200, roughly since that moment, to over 1149 as of this moment at Mount Gox on Friday. So if you look at that, you have to see, okay, Max Keiser is the marketing guru behind this. What was he behind last time? He was behind the Crash JP Morgan Buy Silver campaign, and silver shot from $20 an ounce roughly to $50 an ounce. Huge moves. Or it must have been the mid-20s, around that range. That was a huge move to the upside in a relatively short time frame. And now we're seeing a similar move in Bitcoins. And now if you want to look at this move of Bitcoins, right, you're seeing this huge upside trend in Bitcoins. Some people are calling it a bubble. Eventually, if it continues to go up like this, yeah, it will be a bubble. Peter Schiff is calling it for it to be a bubble. And if you examine the Bitcoin versus South Sea stock, another bubble, the trend line is really, really similar. It's crazy how similar that is. Examining another chart in the last 8 months, these charts look really similar. Not particularly the same, but the trend line remains the same. And unfortunately, if it keeps on going like this, in my opinion, it's going to pop. Here's another chart as well. Now, if you want to look at the moves in Bitcoins, look at where it was 2 years ago. 1 penny. Now, at Mt. Gox, it's approximately $1,149 a Bitcoin. So, if you do the math, 1149 minus 0.01 cents, and now you take this number, 1149 divided by 0.01, and this is the amount of move that it's gone to the upside. As crazy as that. I mean, that's 114,000 fold move to the upside in 2 years. That's insane. And it's going up in a straight line. Markets usually work in corrections. Sure, we've seen corrections, hard corrections to the downside, but what does Bitcoin provide? Bitcoin, you could barely use Bitcoin for anything. Sure, there are some restaurants that accept Bitcoins, but who on earth is going to accept Bitcoins? Not many restaurants. I mean, there are some interesting views, and I did get a message from an individual, from a friend who's a Keynesian. He stated that basically this could be a potential threat to the credit card companies. And if you're not paying that much in fees for Bitcoins, Bitcoins could go much, much higher. It could go higher, but that's mere speculation. In addition, if Bitcoin does, number one, threaten all of these credit card companies, then what's going to happen? The government's going to come in. You have to remember, these credit card companies are in bed with the US government. You have to remember, if you believe in conspiracy theories, all these guys want you in debt. And what better way to get into debt than credit card companies? I mean, we have a debt-based system, and the powers that be want to continue this Ponzi scheme. And what would they do? Would they want the alternative currency to be Bitcoins, or would they want you to continue to be in credit card debt? That's something to know. Could I be wrong? Sure, I could be wrong, but these are just my opinions, and I am not telling you to invest in any particular security. That is your choice, and the choice of you and your broker. Just remember that. What I believe is Bitcoin looks like a bubble as of this moment. Could it go much higher in the future? Yeah, if we have potentially more money printing and gold and silver aren't going up, then you could see moves to Bitcoin instead. I mean, you have to remember who's investing in Bitcoins, mainly libertarians. And if they don't see gold and silver going up, they may shift their money to Bitcoins. And if you do see nastier inflation down the road, I think Bitcoin, as crazy as this sounds, may be a hedge. But then you're going to see other virtual currencies come into fruition. These are the cryptocurrency number one market capitalizations. Bitcoin 13 billion. You see the price of Bitcoin here. It says 1087, but that's an average of all the exchanges. I was talking previously about the Mt. Gox price of Bitcoin. Litecoin is actually down from the 40s to $34. The other day I actually wanted to buy some Litecoins at $10, $11, but the exchange could only get it at $11 or $17. So I didn't want to buy it. Maybe I should have for a trade. But anyways, what you're going to see here is you're going to see a lot of these coins get a lot of market cap down the road. So what you're going to do is you're going to see all these coins pop up, and then people are going to realize what intrinsic value do these coins have and which coin is better. So this is the initial stage. So just because you have all these cryptocurrencies doesn't mean that all of these will disappear. You may have a few of them survive. You may see, based on survival of the fittest, that you could have maybe a Bitcoin or a Litecoin that are the top cryptocurrencies going forward. Right now, we don't know what's going to go on. But if you continue to see all these guys propping up different types of coins, well, some of these coins, it's going to A, either dilute their share or market capitalization, or B, what's going to happen is you're going to see a huge decrease in the prices of the actual asset, like Bitcoin, Litecoins, Pure Coins, Name Coins, Feathercoin. Trace Meyer the other day was talking about Mastercoin, right? I was talking to the CEO of Mastercoin, maybe bringing him on for an interview. But if you get all these coins, which one's going to be better? That's just something to think about. Is it going to dilute the share prices of each of these coins? Potentially. This is something to note, but all I can see is if Max Keiser is behind this, this tells me you could see a correction in the short term, just like you saw with silver. And in my opinion, for the contrary play, I may get into silver now. Just stack physical silver because Kaiser's not talking about it. Everyone thinks that silver's dead. And everyone's talking about Bitcoins. Maybe it's time for the opposite, in my opinion. I'm not telling you guys, once again, what to do. That's your choice. Anyways, thanks for listening, guys, and I'll talk to you another time.